Welcome to part 9 of my out-of-print DVD collection. Again, I'm going to state that it's only these particular versions that are out of print. Sometimes a studio will re-release the same movie, or different studios will release the same movie. First up, we have Choking Hazard. It's a Czechoslovakian zombie movie. A professor takes some of his students to, I guess, a mountain retreat or a hotel in the mountains, or it's out in the wilderness, I think. But they get attacked by zombies. Um, it's a comedy. It's low budget, but it's one of the better low budget zombie movies, I think. I liked it. I haven't seen it in probably a decade, but I remember liking it. This guy always reminded me of Anthony Hopkins. After that, we have Megazone 23. It's a Japanese anime from the 1980s. At least, pretty sure it was the 80s. There's a twist at the end, so I can't go into too much of the plot, but the main character, he comes across his motorcycle that's more than a motorcycle. And the government's out to get him, some sinister organization is out to get him. Um, yeah, it's a quest for the truth, basically. He's trying to find out what's really going on where they live. The twist is pretty interesting. I liked it. It's a pretty violent um, anime, but it's definitely the art style is definitely the 80s. So if you're not into the older anime style, you might not like it. Ark II, this was a Saturday morning kids show. It was released. The DVD set was released with what was it? Space Academy, Jason the Star Command, and Secrets of Isis. Arc 2, it's these people, blonde, Nordic white guy, Asian woman, Hispanic kid, and a chimp. They're traveling the post-apocalyptic wasteland, helping people out. Um, this vehicle thing, I'm not sure, but I think that's the one from Damnation Alley. Or it might have been repurposed from the Damnation Alley vehicle. It was a corny show. I mean, it's a 70s or early 80s kids live action, so you can't expect too much. Don Knotts, the reluctant Don Knotts, the reluctant hero pack. They re-released this set, but this one has the slipcover. Can you see? It has a shaped slipcover. But I love this set. It has some great Don Knotts movies. The Ghost and Mr. Chicken. He's a reporter and he's staying for the night in a supposedly haunted house. Reluctant astronaut. He has dreams of becoming an astronaut, but he gets hired to be a janitor at NASA. He doesn't want to tell people at home that he's a janitor, and through typical Don Knotts hijinks, he gets launched into space. Shiggy's Gun in the West. I don't remember the plot too much, but I think he hooks up with some kind of Calamity Jane type of woman. I'm not sure. I liked it though. I remember liking. I like all of these movies. The Love God is probably my favorite. If you've ever wanted to see Don Knotts dressed as a pimp, this is the movie for you. He plays he runs a bird watching. He publishes a bird watching magazine, and some unscrupulous producers of pornography, well, pornography at the time, they con him into turning over control of his magazine, and they switch it from bird watching to, well, it's a different kind of bird watching. Um, so he becomes like eventually he becomes like a Hugh Hefner kind of character. But yeah, they dress him up like a pimp. It is hilarious. This was the other set I was talking about, Space Academy, the live action Saturday morning kids show. Except this one, they're on some kind of floating asteroid, I think, and they live on a space station. It has Jonathan Harris, Dr. Smith from Lost in Space, Pamela Ferdin. She was a pretty big kids actor back in the day. She did the voice for Lucy, I think, in the Peanuts specials from the 60s, maybe the 70s too. Brian Tochi, he was one of the few Asian actors back then. I think he does mainly voiceovers these days. He was in Revenge of the Nerds. He was in a bunch of other things too. But yeah, that's Space Academy. It's, they stuff like an asteroid is heading for their base and they gotta deflect it or they go to a different planet. It's kind of like a watered down Star Trek for kids. Nine Deaths of the Ninja, probably my least favorite Shokosugi movie. He's part of an anti-terrorist group. Some people get kidnapped and him and his colleagues have to go rescue them. Pretty terrible. If you don't recognize Shokosugi, he was a pretty big martial arts actor or action star back in the 80s. He had some crossover success from Japan. Nowadays, his kids are doing most of the acting. His oldest was in the Godzilla Final Wars movie, and he was also in the Dead or Alive video game adaptation movie. It was so bad, it's good. But yeah, Nine Deaths of the Ninja, not my favorite. Here we have Brotherhood of the Wolf. I remember the hype being pretty big on this movie. Shoot. So I was kind of disappointed when it finally came out. The only people I recognize from this movie is Mark Dacascos, Monica Bellucci, and Vincent Cassel. It's a French movie, but it's loosely based on a true story. There's some gruesome killings. They believe some kind of animal or monster is involved. So Mark Dacascos and his French boss, they're hired by the local government to find out what's going on. I don't know. I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember being disappointed. Shoot. I'll just do this. Society. Crap. Brian Usna movie. I think he directed and produced the Reanimator movies. But it stars Billy Warlock. If you grew up in the 70s, 80s, you'd probably recognize his name, sort of. He's a kid from a rich family. I don't remember if he was adopted, because a lot of people treated him like crap. But something weird is going on in his community, and he decides to investigate, and what he finds is pretty shocking. Bunch of rich people they're mutants, I believe. I don't think they're aliens. They're some kind of mutant, and they have this ritual. It's some kind of initiation. And this version is the uncut version. There's 4 minutes that was taken out of the American release, and I think it has to do with that initiation scene. It's pretty weird. Most of the movie is slow. It kind of gets freaky at that initiation scene I'm talking about. It was one of these movies that I'd heard a lot about. Like, it was, oh, you gotta see this. This is a fucked up movie, but I wasn't. I don't really care for it. I mean, seeing it once was more than enough, I think. Moville Mysteries. This is a cartoon. I'm pretty sure it was broadcast in Canada and maybe parts of the United States. I never saw it on any of the broadcast channels either in Hawaii or in New York City. I think this is a Halloween grab, Halloween cash grab. This came out during Halloween. But it's like Erie, Indiana, except animated. It's sort of a kid's X-Files. He goes around, strange things happen in his town, like Erie, Indiana, and he investigates. I like the art style. The voice is done by Frankie Muniz, Malcolm in the Middle. Yeah, if any of you have episodes other than these three, The Telltale Recliner, The Good Old Days, and How Now Meowing Cow, please let me know and please share. I really like this cartoon, but I can't find any other episodes. Last, we have Grand Tour, Disaster in Time, a Jeff Daniels movie. It also stars Ariana Richards. She was the little girl from Jurassic Park. And what was that? She was in another Alien movie back in the day. It was a comedy. But anyway, Jeff Daniels discovers that there are these tourists from the future that come to Earth, that come to the past in order to view disasters. Titanic, Hindenburg, stuff like that. They'll come back in time and they'll watch it happening. Why? That's pretty messed up and morbid. It's not something I would want to do. I mean, I'd like to travel in time, but not to go watch disasters. But he discovers these people in his town, and basically something bad is going to happen in his town. So it's a race against time to stop it. It's a little slow, but I liked it. I haven't seen this storyline in any other sci-fi movie. There's not a lot of special effects or action pieces or scenes. But I liked it. Grand Tour, Disaster in Time. Well, that's it. Stay tuned for part 10.